Hey guys, so for those of you who have followed my other videos, you probably know that after freshman year of college, I suffered from drug-induced psychosis that was brought on by heavy psychedelic use as well as a daily weed habit. After this happened, I spent a year trying to get it together, going to doctors to get on, mood stabilizers. I took the year off. I went to a treatment facility for a few months to try to figure out, the possible causes for me having this psychotic break. And so I thought I was good to go back to school the following year. Unfortunately, it didn't work out so well because I guess old habits die hard. I went to the University of Brighton in the UK as part of a study abroad program. And when I got over there, I found that it wasn't as easy for me to acclimate as I thought, even though they do speak English there in the UK, obviously. There would be times that I would just kind of miss certain things. I wasn't always clear on what everybody was saying all the time. Or just, I was young. I probably wasn't really mentally ready to do this at the time. I just didn't adapt as easily as I thought. There were some cultural things that I kind of didn't pick up on right away. Um, so after about a month of being there, around 6 weeks or so, I was kind of having some depression again. I was not really doing so well, slipping into the drug use again, but it wasn't getting too heavy at that time. But then I went to this nightclub. It was called Volk's Nightclub. And some older hippie guy, he came out and he was selling all kinds of drugs, like ketamine, LSD, and some other things. I bought a bunch of drugs off this guy after taking acid at this nightclub. And that's kind of when all hell started to break loose. I spent a week just binging on these drugs I bought from this guy. Really went out of control. I was sitting in the dorm room, really going crazy, just drugging myself into oblivion, basically. And then it got to a point where I was so bad that I'm wandering around campus, like wandering on to, the soccer field while people are practicing, waking people up, ringing the doorbell in the middle of the night. Eventually, I got hauled off to the psych ward. And I was hauled off to one that was about an hour away from the school. And so it wasn't where I stayed for the whole time. But when I got in there, it was just really creepy because I remember there were a lot of older people having mental health issues, like much older men and stuff that were just, it was very eerie atmosphere in there. It was disturbing. They started putting me on some kind of pills there. I can't even remember what they were. But then after I got transferred from that hospital to a closer one to where the university was, this hospital in Hove, I think was the name of the town. That's where I stayed. Ended up being there for like 3 months, maybe even more than 3 months. And the really scary thing about this is that in the UK, like if you're having a mental health issue, you're having psychosis or some kind of schizophrenia symptoms or something, they keep you in there. Like you're not going anywhere until they think you're basically in just a stable enough state to go. Or whereas in the US, a lot of times people will come in, they'll just kick them out after a few days onto the street or wherever. They come back in again, get kicked out after a few days. It's just kind of a cycle. But in this case, in the UK, I'm in there for like 3.5 months. And I was given an injection at one point that's called zuclopixanol, and it's not even legal actually here in the US because it does have some really extreme side effects. I would probably say it's even worse than Haldol if people are familiar with that. And it was just a horrible experience. And the whole time I'm over there in the hospital, there's nothing to do except they did let people smoke for some reason. So people would just sit out smoking, all day and in the little courtyard, go inside, sleep, go back outside and smoke. Just a very, very depressing, 3 months to deal with this. And I was fried. I was, completely psychotic and thinking things like, I mean, these delusions I was having that at one point I said I can control the weather or something, telling people all kinds of ridiculous shit. And so I was really in for it. And then I got the injection. I was finally let out after 3 months, and I went home. But one really disturbing thing I found from being there was one guy was ordered by the court to get injections for schizophrenia. It wasn't like an option for him. He couldn't say, "Oh no, I don't want to take this." He had to take it, and if he didn't take it, like, people would come after him and literally force him to take this. So the UK is not a place you want to be if you're having mental health issues. They will throw the book at you. You will be in the hospital and possibly, if it's severe enough, get ordered by the court to take injections like this guy was. So I wanted to share my experience with that. It was really, really difficult. Probably the worst psych hospital experience I've had. And yeah, I don't recommend it.